Okay, so that's where we got to on Tuesday night. I'm just going to open up the reference as well so we can compare the two. Okay. Oh, and I lost it instantly. Alright, here we go. So you can see there is a bit of a difference. Like, for a first attempt, first pass at it, we did pretty good. There's a few differences, but we're doing alright. Like, we need to fix this section. You can see in this section here, I've got way more forehead showing than what is actually on the photo. So I need to come back and I need to shift this part, the beanie, down. Like I almost need to be on the line where this, where I've put my main sort of crease in his forehead, and then I can work on these other lines. This part's looking not bad. Like around here, it's not looking bad. I can probably work on the shadow, work up the shadows a bit more detail. That's good. We're probably going to start zooming in onto the drawing and put in some finer details to get these wrinkles and everything looking really nice. This side's looking okay. A little bit wide in the face. I can probably suck him in a little bit more here. The shadow around his mouth is coming in, but I need to continue it a little bit more out this way. So we do have a little bit to work on, so we'll get to work on that, but I don't think it's going to take us a huge amount of time to finish this. Okay, so let's chuck this over on the other screen so it's out of the way, and we'll get to work. We're gonna start off. What I might do is I might actually I might make a new layer, but I'm also going to grab this beanie and I'm going to move it down slightly, and then I'm going to start painting over it or drawing over it to correct it, I guess. So let's use our magical lasso tool to select our beanie. The detail of the beanie is what we really need to move. We can add more black if need be. So we're coming down to where I put that main crease in, and that's basically where I want to put it. We'll let go of that. Then I can come back to the layer behind, and I can actually paint in the black that needs to go in, and it'll look a little bit better. So we're just going to put in some black, just to cover up what we just cut out and removed. Good. I'm happy with that. That's looking a bit better already. Like already when I'm looking between the two, it makes the drawing look a little bit closer to what the photo is. Yeah, cool. Good. That's just a quick little edit that we can do just to help ourselves out. I'm gonna go over this little white area, the highlight that I put on the edge of the beanie, because it's not actually a highlight on the edge of the beanie. It's it needs to be almost like a glow coming out. Like, well, not a glow. The background is slightly lighter than his beanie and the side of his face. So what we need to do is we need to almost grab a slightly lighter color. We'll see if we can we might just put a harsh shape. Yeah, that's gonna work. We need to put a harsh shape in here. Like, we just want to build up on this a little bit, and we're gonna put the background in. We don't want it to be a huge difference, but we want it to be noticeable if you're really looking, I guess. So these are all small edits that you can do as you're getting closer to the end of the final product. And if you feel like that's too light, you can always come back and you can work it up. You can put a bit of griminess to it, and even like, because I do the rough shading, we can start building that up and breaking it up a bit so that it's not as noticeable that we've got two different tones. So we're just quickly putting in some texture there. You can even like cross hatch it. So I'm going quite fast just to... The only thing that I don't like about cross hatching it is it looks, to me it looks like fabric, so I'll probably go back over it again after this just to make it look less like fabric. We're just gonna continue to build on that because we want there to be a little bit of a difference, but we don't want it to be so much that it's really, really noticeable. We're just building up on that. Cool. We can work on that afterwards if we feel like it's not right. We might come in and use a softer brush, maybe a round one with a feathered edge, just to put a bit of shadow there, because it does kind of fade away. Like it starts off lighter around, it's almost like a halo around the edge of his face. Okay, let's work on the shadow of his mouth in his beard. I think that's going to be the next easiest thing to work on. We're going to save the detail in his forehead and around his eyes and all that sort of stuff till last, because we're going to have to zoom in and we're going to have to spend a bit of time on that just to build up those textures. Okay, let's build up this shadow around his mouth. So we can block it out first. It kind of comes all the way up to there, and he almost looks like he's got a bit of a smirk going on behind his beard. So that's roughly the shadow that we want. It's not going to be like that. That's not the final product. We're going to come back in over top of it with a finer brush. And we're going to continue his beard out. His beard comes in almost into his mouth, coming out of his mouth almost, and over the top of it. So we need to continue this part. And if we go too far with putting the lighter highlights over the top of it, then what we do is we come back and we draw in some darker. Again, we just texturing it up, same way we did on Tuesday night. So you definitely don't want to create harsh lines. You're creating harsh lines, but you don't want to create a block of color in this area. Cool. Don't mind that. It's looking alright. We might just put a couple more strands around. Just a couple of flyaway parts, opposite to the direction. Like most of the direction that I've got is going straight down. We're gonna create a little bit of opposing lines just to create that texture a bit more. I think we want to put a little bit more shadow in around this area, because it does kind of have a bit more shadow in the photo than what we've given in here. A bit more shadow in here. And this is just working on the texture. Working on the texture and getting the shadows right to where we want them to be. Still showing the lines of the beard and texture and all that sort of thing. So there's a bit more shadow around his head, a couple of strands of hair that it is showing. We want to start to create the movement in his beard as well, because there is a bit of like flow It's kind of like where he combs it, brushes it with his hands and all that sort of stuff. It's not perfect. It's not a perfectly combed brush beard, but it is like, probably does run his hands through it every now and then. So we're trying to show that. Okay, come back in. A couple more posing lines, like I was saying before. You can't do wrong with that. Like, I guess you could go way too much into it, but you can't really go too wrong with what you do for details. Yeah, cool. Let's start to do a few more details to his forehead. So we're gonna zoom in a bit now. Going to use a bit more of a smaller brush, and we're going to get some of these details. I'm going to zoom in on. Hope I can zoom in on this drawing. I'm not drawing the photo. It's not looking like I can, which is really weird. Oh yeah, I can. Cool. Oh, sorry guys, I'm just trying to get the setting right on this photo. Okay, let's do some details. Start to build up. Okay. Oh, I need the brush. So you can see in the brush in here, like what I've got on at the moment is actually quite a large brush for what we're trying to do, so we won't really be able to get too much detail in with that. So we want to go smaller again, and then we're going to start to come in with this. Like, it looks somewhat big at the moment, but when we zoom back out, it's actually going to look smaller. So we're just going to start to roughly work on the crease of his forehead, and that's going to require us to paint over what we've previously done as well. But yeah, we'll try and really work on the folds of his forehead from where he's got his worry lines, I guess. So you've probably had a hard life, this guy, so he's seen a lot, frowned a lot, furrowed his brow a lot. He does have some great detail in his forehead. We're just going to work on lines, Again, this is just texturing this up so that when we zoom out, it'll look like what we're trying to achieve. Switching back and forward between light and dark. Because occasionally we're going to have some stuff that's not quite right. We want to get rid of it. We want to put some other details in there. So this line here we don't want, so we're just going to paint over it. In this part we can actually start to get quicker and select things and paint back in. Paint in larger brush. Get our shadow going as well. So we're just going to go over top of it. I actually want to start again on that line. And this is absolutely fine. You can do this as much as you want. Like, it's almost like real painting. Like when you're oil painting, you paint over a certain part that you're not quite happy with. Have another go at it after it's dried, and just build up your texture. Okay, go back to black. Got a little bit of a line there. So probably not going to look exactly like what we want straight away. But you're just getting, again, you're just working with shapes. Shapes that kind of represent what you're looking for. Until you get something that kind of looks like what you want. So we've got some highlights through here. And we're just building up, building up, building up, building up. You can go quite quickly through this part as well. Just painting over it again and again. You're just putting in lots of lines. Heavier lines where they need to be. Just building up. Oh, pressing the wrong buttons. Sorry. Computer's not happy with me when I press the wrong buttons. So we don't want to like paint completely over the lines that we've already done. Like we don't want to go really heavy and erase them completely. We're actually still kind of using the ones that we've already drawn just to add a little bit more of a texture to it. But then we come in and put our main lines in afterwards. Almost like just dulling the lines that we've already drawn just to use them as a guide. And again, because I'm a bit more of a messy style, I can get away with it a little bit. And I am using a little bit more of a larger brush right now just to get this shadowy, darker color in. And that's fine. Always reference what you're doing to what you're trying to draw, because otherwise you'll miss details. Let me get rid of that circle, so we're just painting over it. That one we can kind of go right over. Reduce this a bit. Then we're going to pick back up that shadow, come back in with it. This part is a little bit more painter style, I guess. That's fine. This might be the way to go with the shadows that I was talking about before in our life drawings. Like, you might need to incorporate some technique that we're using here. Could be a way to go about it. More of a painter style, I guess. You can probably get some nicer shadows. Then again, when you want to get a little bit more detail, that's when you can go to a smaller brush. Start to really put in a bit more lines, do what you're trying to do with it. Speckles on the nose and whatnot. The shape of the nose in. A bit more dark around here. done. Want that color? Okay, we're on the wrong layer, that's why. Somehow, I selected a layer that I wasn't wanting to paint on. We're just building, slowly building. I'm gonna get rid of that. There is like a misplaced lash that's sticking down, which kind of comes over his eye, like similar to that. We could build up. We'll put him in. It's details that make the drawing right. Build up the shadow around here. Start to work on some of the creases coming through here. A little bit more of the detail on the nose bridge. Just getting in shadows where they need to be shadows, getting in marks and lines where they need to be marks and lines. We need a bit of shadow through the eye there, so I'm just going to put a couple of lines. A bit more shadow through there. Cool. Getting happy with that part. Let's put a bit more highlights in here because this part of the nose is actually a lot lighter. There we go, looking alright. Good detail coming in. Just building up that detail, really. Shadows, spots and damage to the skin and all that sort of thing. All the stuff that makes a drawing interesting and a portrait interesting. Come back over it with the grey. And then we'll come back over it with the white, because there is a lot of white through here. Get that shading correct. Let's move back up to the forehead. Keep working because I still feel like that's not right. It's definitely not right. Cool. Then there's another line that starts underneath, comes over. Then you got some lines that start to form around here. Now you can sort of add stuff at this point if you really want to. Like, you're not doing an exact representation, because you're not doing photorealistic drawings. Well, I'm not doing photorealistic drawings. It's just for my own personal enjoyment, and hopefully you guys like what I'm doing as well. So that's the idea. Do things that I like and if other people like it, then cool. But yeah, like I was saying, like especially in comics, like you're just doing things that look cool, really. Like if you think it looks awesome, there's a good chance that it probably looks cool. Like there's gonna be someone else that might think the same. Hopefully, well, that's the goal anyway. Just going back over just working it all up. In this part, you just keep going until you are happy with what you're seeing on screen. If you're not happy with what you're seeing on screen, keep going. Add more detail. Add more detail and more detail and more detail until you get to a point where you're like, yep, done. I'm happy. We're getting closer to that point. Like, I'm starting to see some cool stuff coming through in the drawing, like getting good results, good details. In more and more detail. I'm going to come back through in a minute with a lighter color, work on some more of this detail that I'm working on at the moment. This is all the little lines that are going to look cool. It doesn't look like much when it's zoomed right in, but this hopefully translates to some cool wrinkles and creases in the skin. That's what we're looking for, is all these creases. Highlights in here. All the little lines, all add up. Shadow in the eye area.
So climb your fucking river.
Let's have a look. See what kind of details we're getting. Yeah, cool. That's getting good. I like that. Maybe a little bit more around his cheek on this side. So yeah, we'll zoom back in, do a little bit more work on that area. But we're getting close, I think. Just keep working at it until you're happy. Like I was saying before, when you're happy, the drawing's done. Then it's hopefully other people think it's cool. I'll put some small cracks and lines in here. Just to give him a little bit more character. But we're getting there. Definitely getting there. A little bit more detail there. Cool. Happy with that. Let's put a little bit more highlights in here. We're just going to do that by just putting some rough lines there. And then we're going to go bang. Looking alright. Let's do a little bit of a comparison. We'll go zoom back out on this. Make it a bit skinnier. And we'll drag it over. So yeah, like, not an exact representation, but at least we're getting there. I think maybe a little bit deeper on these forehead lines, and we'll be looking pretty good. Let's let's bring that back up. Yeah, a bit deeper on those. I'm just going to move that off to the side so I can see it as I do this. Hey Pocket, yeah, thanks. We're getting really close to the end of it. I think a little bit more and we're going to be done. Just go a little bit deeper on these crease and Mori lines. So it is a big part of his character. Big worry lines. Cool. Got those worry lines down. Let's make these ones a little bit deeper. Darker around here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is where are we? I'm going to come over top of it with I might do a wash over top of it, but the wash is going to be it's going to be so muted in color that it's going to look grey, and that's kind of what I want to do because I want to just work on the shadows. Oh man, thanks for the following. Let me just see who it is. Drift Howler, thanks man, really appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying the stream. Alright, so yeah, what I was saying is I'm just going to do a wash over the top. Usually the wash would be a colour, but I'm going to keep it so low in the colour that it looks like a grey colour, and that's what I'm going for. So we'll make a new layer. We're going to do it as a multiply layer. I think that's what we need. If we don't, then we can quickly change that. But anyway, we're going to go to a soft round brush. Bump up our brush. So this is probably going to, yeah, it's going to come in really dark. But what we want is, let's go, because we want it to still look like a warm color. I think we want to be about here. Yeah, that's good. we might go to about 30%, because then we can build things up like that. So here we go. Let's go. We might even try darker color. See what that looks like. Come on. There we go. This is just so that we know that the shadow that we've got going on is actually the shadows that we're trying to portray. And then if we find that we're going too dark on certain shadows, we can then come back into it afterwards and line it up. Almost like an eraser. So we probably will go a little bit dark, just to show what I mean. It'll be a little bit of a experiment, I guess. He definitely looks pissed off, this guy, which is kind of what I was liking about him when I saw the photo at the start. Yeah, Drift Follower, thanks very much. Been doing it for a little while now, slowly getting better and better. But yeah, this is like a regular thing that I'm going to be doing, is just portraits. I started off the night with a bit of life drawing. That usually goes for about an hour. But we're just doing this, we're just finishing this. We started it on Tuesday, so we've spent a little bit more time than we did the previous drawing. The previous drawing that I did was of a girl, and we drew her, but then we zombified her. So we basically beat her face up, put like sunken in eyes, we put like a big split in her mouth and showed like the muscle underneath her mouth, and her teeth and all that sort of stuff, and just made it look like a zombie essentially. But yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm doing. Tomorrow night I'm going to be doing a piece, like if anyone's around, I'm going to be doing a piece that you guys get to choose. I'm probably going to draw a comic book hero, but I'm going to get some suggestions from you guys in the chat, and then I'll probably pick maybe 2, and then I'll get you guys to vote on it. Just depends on who's here. If there's not that many people here, I might pick 2, and I might just see what you guys want to see, and I'll do my best to draw that. But yeah, it'll be in my style as well, so it'll be that gritty, darker edge look. So yeah. Alright, so we've got our shadow. I'm pretty happy with the way the shadow's looking at the moment. I'm going to now come in and do a lighter. Who's my favorite comic book character? I would have to go with Spawn. Spawn's probably my favorite, mainly because of the artist that draws him or created him, Todd McFarlane. I love his artwork, but Spawn is also one of those characters that is more dark and almost like an anti-hero. So yeah, I like that. Let's go with, I think we might want an overlay layer. We'll soon find out. Nope. Yeah, white's fine. So we're just going to be building up these shadows and highlights now, because he does have a bit of highlights in and around certain parts. We want to make sure we're not dropping those. So yeah, he definitely looks a little bit different than his photo, but again, it's my representation of him, and art wouldn't be art if you didn't change things slightly. If you're doing it super, I mean, even the artists that do super photorealistic, like there will be slight things in there that aren't exactly correct. But anyway, let's do a comparison, see where we're at. But I think we're pretty much done.
You never know just what you've got
So there we go.
till it's slipping through your fingers.
Again, a little bit of a difference, but
What you've got
I like it. I think it's good.
till it's
I'm
gone
happy with
like
it.
the wind.
We got some good results.
Miss your shadow till there's no one left beside you.
Yeah,